so welcome to Top Gear. This is Richard Hammond. This is welcome to Mobile Guitar Tuition Bristol's third video. Today we're going to talk to you about pentatonic scales. We're going to talk to you in across two videos. This one's going to be about pentatonic minor scales. Next one will be about pentatonic major scales. Good to say that the videos we've done so far about vibrato, string bending, this is the ideal time now to put the three videos together. Practice your vibratos with this scale. Practice your bending with this scale. Bring it all together, possibly with a backing track as well. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. But yeah, that's what we're going to talk about today. So
cool. Yeah, pentatonic scale is the best thing to learn when you want to start learning to solo and jam with people and improvise and all the fun stuff. But people get kind of put off when they hear the word scale.
I don't know about you as well, but I get asked all the time in lessons, how do you solo? Where do I start? What do I do? How do I?
And you're picking, you're trying to make something up on the spot, but it's like almost overwhelming looking at those notes and thinking which ones do I use. But the pentatonic scale will really help with that. It's a simple scale. It's 5 notes that generally works really well depending on what kind of chords you're using. So we're going to use A minor as an example. The chords that will work in A minor, so A minor, F, G, C, D minor and E minor. Any song that kind of generally uses those kind of chords.
The reason why that's in a key, isn't it? So
yeah, it's in a key.
It's in a key. Those chords work well. If you're not sure of what we're talking about, those chords fit well and work well.
They're built in notes. Key, they're built in notes that are from a certain scale, A minor or C major. So if you know any songs that maybe you've learnt yourself or you've learnt in lessons with us that have those keys in, those chords in, then they're going to be perfect for soloing on.
Yeah.
So the scale actually sounds like this. Playing it up the stairs and down the stairs, alternate picking, just out of discipline and practice, just to try and get really used to playing that scale.
Yeah.
Now that sounds really boring and doesn't sound very particularly musically interesting.
No.
If I play some chords, Rich, and you show us how it's used, we'll go 1, 2.
Blues note in there, so tempting. So ignore that extra note I put in there. It's just felt right. I couldn't hold myself back to not do that.
It needed to be there.
It needed to do that, yeah. So okay.
So I was playing chords. I was playing an A minor, a D minor, an F, and an E chord, and just jamming on those kind of chords. And you were using those notes, and you were just doing what you want with them. They're like the colours that you can use, your palette, and you were just painting a picture.
Yeah.
So although initially we're going to learn the scale, and it's going to look. Like, what's that got to do with soloing?
Yes.
Those are the notes that you can use, and you want to know them.
It gives you a map, doesn't it? Yeah. It gives you a map of notes that you can use.
You want to know them better than you know your best friend.
Yeah.
You want to just be able to use them wherever you like, just so you can really forget about what you're doing and just kind of play what you want, and that's really cool.
I like to describe it in lessons it's a map. Everyone gets given the same map, but everyone can use. I'll give it to you. You may look at that map differently. You go, I'm going to go this way. You give it to me, and I'll go, I'm going to go this way. So you get given exactly the same map or the same notes, but you can use them in a completely different way, or it's how you use them, isn't it?
Exactly,
so that's the way I present it in lessons, trying to say it like that, so it sort of makes a bit more sense. But
definitely. So we go for A minor. Should we show you how to play it? So we got 6th string 5 8, 5th string 5 7, 4th string 5 7, 3rd string 5 7, 2nd string 5 8, and then 5 8 on the 1st string. So 5 8, 5 7, 5 7, 5 7, 5 8, 5 8. Okay. Now you want to use a finger per fret if possible. So what I mean by that is your first finger. Then when you stretch out to the starting on the first finger, when you stretch out to fret 8 on the 6th string, you want to use your little finger. Any of the 5 7s, use your 3rd finger. That just helps with speed, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Just
you've got to get the right sort of order with the fingers. More efficient, isn't it?
What you don't want to do is this.
Yeah.
Because it just takes too long, and you never have the control and the kind of speed that you want. Yeah. So try and be strict on that when you're learning it. Okay, cool. So practice it upwards and downwards. You want to be as good going backwards.
But don't repeat the top note, I would say. Just keep it continuous.
Just keep it continuing. Just up and down, and that's going to work really nicely. And just until you're really used to it, and that's it. Now there's 5 positions of these pentatonic scales, and we can show you more either in lessons or maybe in a future video. But just want you to get used to this one first.
It's the most common one, isn't it? It's used all the time.
And it's not just for A minor. If you move that scale back a fret, you're playing in A flat minor. You move it back another fret, you're playing G minor. And it depends on where you start it off. As long as you're playing the same shape.
And basically your root note there, that's why you're working out what key you're in. Your root note's with the first finger, so wherever you move that down the guitar, depends what key, tells you what key you're in, isn't it?
So if someone says, you know, let's do a jam in E flat, you're like, you don't have to worry, just go to the 11th fret, start your pentatonic scale there. Okay, this is minor key, so it needs to be a minor key. If it's major, we'll talk about that next week.
Cool. Should we talk about a little bit of the building blocks and a bit of the theory? So without too much detail, we'll try and give you a little bit of theory on it so you can...
Yeah, if you like, so generally, it's a reduction of the minor scale. The minor scale has 7 notes, 8 including the octave. So it's A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, the octave, at low A, higher A. So that's the minor scale. There's 2 notes in there that are just the fret next to each other, so they're a semitone apart. They're a distance of 1 fret away. Now, those are the troublesome notes with soloing, because if you're playing a chord that has one of those notes and you play the other note, do you want to play? You play. I'll play 5th string fret 5. You play 5th string fret. What are you playing? 6.
I'll play 6. Yes.
Yeah. So these 2 notes are right next to each other, and you get that horrible dissonance. Dissonance means notes that clash.
Yeah.
And so those are the troublesome notes with soloing, because sometimes, you know, it's not a bad thing. It's, you know, but you just need to resolve.
As long as there's a release,
exactly.
It's like tension and release. As long as you don't land a solo on that, or you hang on that for 8 bars.
Exactly.
You're going to be okay. You can sort of use those notes, but just with a little bit of caution, isn't it?
So the pentatonic scale has taken a 7-note scale and reduced it down to 5 notes, and it's taken out those troublesome notes, those notes that are a semitone away. So it's not foolproof. You can still go wrong, you can still play the wrong note and stuff like that, but it's a much safer and nicer way to start.
Good place to start for soloing,
getting used to it.
Instead of doing the full scale, which you get into eventually. It's just, you know, it's a good place to start. It's a good grounding point. Yeah.
So should we do some licks? Should we show just maybe show you what we can do? So we'll talk about vibrato. You should just do a lick with some vibrato and show me.
So I'll keep it real simple. So.
Lovely. You can do bends. We talked about last week.
So.
Nice. You can do those fast kind of runs that roll down.
Yeah,
we'll
so
call it cascades or something. Is that
you
right?
can go through the the whole scale, can't you? Something like that.
Nice. Lovely. And you can slide into notes. Yeah, you can do it up. Yeah,
you can. And in a solo, that can create sort of a really good a moment of sort of build up, can it? So sort of really sort of speed up and sort of have that sort of sequence of notes in a solo, and it would give it that sort of build up sort of thing.
Exactly. You can slide into notes.
Yeah. So.
Lovely. You play 2 notes at the same time. Bend 2 notes at the same time. Lovely.
Yeah.
And it's limitless. You can do whatever you want. The most important thing, the most important notes to know. What would you say they were?
The most important notes.
Yeah, to know. There's 3 notes in that first position in there that you need to know. Upside down, inside out.
Where your root notes are is really important. If you're playing in the key of A, you should know where all your A notes are within that scale. So here, here, here. Reason being, that gives you a starting point. It gives you don't always have to, if you always start the scale here and you go to solo, your solos will eventually start sounding very boring if you always start on that
very
low A
repetitive.
note. Very repetitive. Yeah.
Other thing is, you want a phrase, you don't want to just keep playing notes over and over again, you want to stop, and the best place to stop in certain phrases is on the root notes. So for instance, you could do a lick, it's on an A, because it sounds like a full stop.
It's like coming home in it sort of thing, gives you that.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Or ending on an A, or whatever key you're in. So That is, so that's a really, really important one to know. Now the A's are here, so we've got 6th string fret 5, going up, 5, 8, 5, 7, 5, 7, so on the 4th string fret 7, that's your octave up, and then 1st string fret 5.
You can see it's a shape there, can't you? As well,
Yeah. The most important notes you need to know, they're the root notes.
Yeah.
And so try and end your little phrases. See if you can, play a couple of notes maybe, and end it on an A. Just start off doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's going to start sounding really musical.
Yeah. I said earlier about backing tracks as well. It's quite a good point to say to you now. It's a good point to say is if you can practice along with a YouTube backing track. We do it all the time. You can load up a backing track, go onto YouTube, type in A minor pentatonic backing track. You'll find pop, rock, funk, so whatever you fancy, take your fancy. I would suggest trying loads of them really, and then just use this scale to start with. Just start running up and down the scale so you can hear what the notes sound like against something musical, and then eventually go away from that and start coming up with a few little ideas and just do a few notes at a time. Don't try and do the whole scale at once. I wouldn't say maybe.
No. Just
sort of stick to just a few notes at a time. Maybe start on the high strings, just do a few notes down there on here, and then the middle of the scale, and then the end of the scale, and eventually, over the course of weeks, you will put them all together. And it will actually start sounding like a solo, and less like a scale. That's the thing we're trying to get away from. Learn the scale first of all, and then move away from the scale, and try and make it sound musical. That's the point of this, isn't it?
Definitely. Cool. So yeah, we was trying to. Yeah, if you want to know more as well, ask us in lessons, or let us know how you're getting on with this, because if this is I think this is something that really changed my life when I found it in a book somewhere when I was learning guitar, and I just couldn't believe it was it's initially a little complicated, but it's actually quite simple when you get your head around it.
It can get you out of a lot of situations.
It's great.
A lot of situations if you know pentatonic scales and you know what key you're playing in, and you know how to move that shape around, this transposable shape, then it can get you out of a lot of situations, can't it?
Definitely.
So, and I would definitely say it's a really valuable scale to use. Yeah. So I think that's pretty much it, isn't it?
Pretty much, yeah. We'll talk about next week. We'll talk about more on the pentatonic. We'll talk about the major ones and how to kind of move them around a bit more.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Cool. And we'll just, as I said, we'll see you next week. And we're going to go to a close up at the end of this video, so you can see the scale really, really close up, so you can practice along with it. But yeah, so have a good week. We will see you next week, and we'll talk about major pentatonic scales. So from me, goodbye, and from Henry,
goodbye.
I'll see you next week. Cheers.
So A minor pentatonic, 6th string, fret 5, 8 with your little finger, 5th string, 5 with your first finger, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7,